2 games in a row. 2 fucking games in a row.
I genuinely do not know how much longer I could watch Kings basketball for. If you don't know why I'm so upset or why I think the Kings are crumbling, it's because they lost to the Dallas Mavericks now for the 2nd time in a row. And it's not like this is a back-to-back or anything where they didn't have any time to rest. They had 2 solid days of doing whatever the hell they wanted to. I'm more surprised that Luka Doncic was able to go out and play basketball after spending multiple days in Sacramento. And I want to make it very clear, especially throughout this entire video, I am not a Dallas Mavericks hater, okay? If you don't know, I made a video actually talking about their team and how I'm really excited for their future, and honestly, they're a dark horse when it comes to my Western Conference predictions. So Dallas Mavericks fans, relax. You have to understand at the same time, I am a Kings fan. That is my #1 team. So obviously, I'm going to have some emotional attachment to us losing back-to-back to you fuckers. With that being said, this is what the current standings look like right now. Obviously, not the best if you're the Kings, considering you're now only 1 game ahead of the LA Lakers. I guess 2 games, sorry about that. And with the Rockets trailing the Warriors now on an 11-game winning streak, which is just crazy. My biggest nightmare, and I cannot express this enough, is that the Kings will drop down, right, to the 9th and 10th seeds. Mainly the 9th seed is what I'm looking at right now. And then the Rockets will jump into the 10th, and then the play-in tournament is the Kings versus Rockets, single elimination. Like, I just don't think it's healthy for me to be thinking about this stuff, because I'm going to get into the actual game itself in a minute, but for right now, I just feel like I need to show this picture right here. I hope I'm reading this right, but I'm pretty sure this is a picture showing us how the Sacramento Kings can make their way into the 6th seed, basically meaning that the Kings have to go 9-0 if the Dallas Mavericks finish their season 6-3. I mean, you can kind of read the rest if you understand how it works here now. With this basically showing everyone that the Kings are going to be a play-in team after losing both of these Dallas Mavericks games, which is just so disappointing, especially when you take into consideration the Kings were doing good this game. When you look at their last one a couple days ago, it was just bad. It was all around bad. There was no good moments. It was nationally televised Mavericks whooping the Kings' ass. That's all it was. There was no fun side of that for me. So I was hoping that the Kings would come out with a little bit more fierce competitiveness, you know, a little faster pace, and that is what they did during this game. I specifically put in my notes how fast this game was going on both ends, but the Kings were doing good on making sure their defense was tight, not allowing the Dallas Mavericks to get hot from 3 like they did in the last game, because that was one of the big reasons as to why they crushed us so easily. So the Mavericks weren't going crazy from 3. Luka Doncic and Kyrie weren't having the craziest start to the game. Kings were doing good. Everything was looking great. The energy in the crowd was there. And I went into halftime confident that the Kings were going to be able to pull this away, which was probably my first mistake. But I was just looking through the stats, like looking at the 3-point comparisons from the last game to this game, and oh my god, the Kings are shooting better from 3. This means that they're gonna win. That all changed just at the start of the 3rd quarter, because the Dallas Mavericks started going on a run, the Kings were crumbling, and that's where I went, oh well, this is the 3rd quarter Kings that I know and love. And one of the things that just amazes me about Luka Doncic's game every time I watch him play is obviously his pace and movement. I know everyone talks about it, but the way he's able to get around his defender. I messed up my last sentence and I forgot where I left off on, so I'm just gonna kind of restart it here. Sorry if that was an awkward cut. But when Luka basically walks his way around his defender, you know, with his slow pace and movement, he has a bunch of options, but most of the time he seems to either lay up the ball or go for a close jumper, or his other option is just to kick it to Lively or Gafford. And the Kings really struggled with that, especially letting their shooters stay open. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks just weren't really hitting their shots earlier on in the game, which is what led them to have that deficit. But with the way that the Kings crowd the paint, or specifically crowd Luka and Kyrie, it always leaves shooters open, like PJ Washington, etc. It also felt like there were a lot more fouls being called. I didn't really see that same physicality I saw from the last Kings and Mavericks game. But you know what? The 3rd quarter didn't go as bad as I expected it to. The Kings turned things around, and it, you know, started to look a little bit better. It didn't look as good as it did going into halftime, but it didn't look like the Kings choked their lead, and that's what I will appreciate. One of the stats I do want to show you guys as well is the fast break points, because this is something that I thought was going to lead to the Kings winning this game. In this game, the Kings had 26 fast break points compared to the Dallas Mavericks' 10, whereas in their last game where they got absolutely destroyed, the Kings had 8 compared to the Dallas Mavericks' 18, which just showed that in this game, the Kings were playing a lot faster and were able to get a lot more steals and just deflections and stuff like that led to quick, easy offensive points, but it wasn't enough, because in the 4th quarter, things just turned to shit. I mean, Kyrie Irving, the same guy that had his leg injury later on in the game, turned into Michael Jordan and was just hitting every single shot. And then Luka Doncic is starting to hit parade shots, and this is when you start kind of understanding, yeah, we're fucked. We're not winning this game, because the Kings seem to have this ability that when the other team starts getting hot, they just panic. They can't score a fucking basket. They fumble the ball, they'll do a bunch of shitty, stupid little turnovers, or they just won't be able to score. Like later on, I'm pretty sure when the game was tied, it came down to a Fox running floater that he makes. He makes these shots every single time, but this one, the pressure maybe was just too high, or maybe he felt weird when jumping because he choked it. He missed the shot. But it's not the end of the world that he missed the 2, but it is when Exum goes over on the other side and hits a 3. Like, this is one of those situations where when you're doubling a guy like Luka Doncic or Kyrie, you have to know that there are other guys open as well that can hit shots. But, you know, not even the Exum 3 would have been bad if the Kings could play some fucking offense. Harrison Barnes slows up the 3, misses it, and Kings somehow managed to get a rebound, which really surprised me. And I thought, okay, maybe we can actually kind of settle down a little bit, regroup, and get a nice little shot off here. No, Harrison Barnes turned the ball over by a backcourt violation while passing it to De'Aaron Fox. Like, why? Like, why the fuck, man? Something about Harrison Barnes and playing for his old teams. He didn't only choke the Golden State Warriors playoff shot, but now he's doing backcourt violations against the Mavericks? Seriously? In important games like this too? Not to mention, the guy was talking shit on Instagram before the game. How are you gonna post a picture of you guarding Luka Doncic and you do this shit? Oh my god, man. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I am gonna give my flowers to a couple of guys that I actually did really enjoy watching in this game. It's gonna, of course, go to Keon Ellis. No doubt he was hitting his shots tonight. He was doing a pretty good job on defense as well. There's some guys that you just can't guard, but he was really doing great. And then Kessler Edwards as well. For Malik Monk to go down and Kessler Edwards to come in and do what he did while making those 3-point shots and also being great on the defensive end as well. It was something that I did really enjoy watching. And, you know, this is such a big game. It's not something that has a label on it like the playoffs or, you know, NBA finals, whatever the fuck. But everyone knows, everyone in the arena, everyone watching, everyone on the bench, they all know how important these games are. So for him to go out there and be able to do that made me really happy to see. But there's one more reason as to why the Kings lost. And that's because of this man right here. I don't remember at what point in the game it was, but at some point the Kings broadcasting team was like, oh, hey, Vlade Divac is in the building right now. And as we all know, he drafted Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic. And this is when we were up, by the way. And the first thing that popped in my mind is, why are we letting the guy that skipped out on current #2 in the MVP race talent, why are we allowing him to sit courtside? Can someone tell me? This man, Vlade Divac, has not only fucked up this franchise for years and years and years and years and years, but he's now allowed to sit courtside, purposely basically taunting Luka Doncic the entire time, saying, hey, look at me, I didn't pick you. I didn't pick you. We're letting him just sit there now? Are you kidding? Like, I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bit carried away from this, but this was like at halftime that this was said, and the first thing that came to my mind was, why is he allowed in the arena right now? You know that does nothing but fire Luka up. And guess what? When Luka Doncic was at the line tonight to finish off the game for the Mavericks, he did this shit. Yes, that's him saying to his team and managers and staff, he should have drafted me. Oh my god, like, I can't. This franchise isn't fucking serious. Anyways, with that being said, hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm not actually super frustrated about this because I feel like things can change at the end of the season. Things can't change enough to the point where we get to the 6th seed, but you never know. I'm just still excited to see my Kings be in the play-in playoff area. Obviously, a lot of Kings fans are upset, and like, I am upset that we're not the best team ever. I mean, going from the 3rd seed to the play-in tournament in a matter of 1 year is a little bit depressing, but you know what's more depressing than that? 16 years of absolutely nothing. So I feel like a lot of Kings fans, I understand we can all strive for more and better for the franchise, but I'm just gonna kind of enjoy the moment right now. The season's not over. We'll see how it is at the end of the year. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of emotions though right after that loss. Anyways, hope you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below your opinions on the Mavericks, on the Kings, on the Warriors. I really don't know anything about the Western Conference and the current playoff play-in race right now. I would love to hear about it. I read and respond to everyone. If you do want to see that Mavericks video I was talking about earlier, it'll be up on the screen right here. You can go ahead and click that and check it out. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Mine on the road, your dilated eyes, watch the clouds